Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander's Forge. My name is Andy Bentley, and the Forge is an area for me to talk about magic, Commander, and anything else while I try and drag this whole mental health thing back out of the gutter. Now, we're going to start today with the announcement that I will not be attending Commander Sealed this year because my finances are in shambles. So it is with a heavy heart that I say, hopefully next year. But I do hope that everybody that makes it out there this year has fun. And yeah, that's about all I got to say about it. I'm sad, but I just can't afford it. I can't even afford, like, the general admission tickets right now. So, I'm not going. That said, I did this weekend have some of the most fun I've had playing Magic in a while. And that was a 6-person 4-pack draft. So it was me, my cousin, and some of our friends. We got together, we made food, we drafted, and it was a free draft. And there were convention mystery boosters as the prize packs, and then to make up for it being free, Mac, the guy who provided the pack, said you can either keep your pool or keep your winning packs. So I built a very disgusting Grixis control deck. I had Geodrone Dahada. I had 4 counterspells, and then just like 7 or 8 removal spells. And I just kept playing stupid little plunky, like 2 mana cost, 3 mana cost creatures that had big butts, so they were hard to attack into. And then, yeah, I had like a dragon and a 6/4 that when it dies does 3 damage. Those were kind of like my top end. I went 3-0, so I won. The only game loss I got was in round 3 against my cousin. He won game 2 of that. But yeah, I had a good time. And not that I haven't enjoyed drafting in the past, it's just hard for me to get out somewhere to actually join a draft, and Arena just kind of lost its luster for me after a while. So, yeah. Anywho, that was kind of what I did this weekend. I had a great time. We were hanging out. I don't know what else I can say about it. Now, I do want to talk about some of the prize packs that I got. So I ended up keeping the prize packs, mostly for one card that was in my prize packs, but there's a lot of stuff in there that, it's pretty happy to see. But the main reason I kept it was the Teferi's Protection that I pulled, because I always need another one of those. But, like, I got another Umbral Mantle out of that. I got a Dolmen Gate. Ended up with Shamanic Revelations, Belby's Portal. Yeah, it's just lots of fun stuff. Some more stapley stuff like Lightning Greaves, Farseek, Faithless Looting, Gaia's Blessing. I think what I'm saying here is I would definitely recommend getting out and just drafting to have a good time. Yeah, that's it for this part. I will be right back. And we're back. Now, today I want to talk about dragons. For the last few years, my dragon deck has been Rakdos, with the commander being Ganax, Astral Hunter, which is 3/4 dragon for 4 and a red. It has flying, and whenever it or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you create a treasure token, and then it has choose a background. The background I have it paired with is Agent of the Iron Throne. 2 and a black for background. Commander creatures you own have whenever an artifact or creature you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. So clearly, Ganax makes treasures, we sack treasures, we do damage. That said, a lot of the black in the deck goes towards things like removal and other things like recursion, with things like Whip of Erebos, which is 2 black for an enchantment artifact. Creatures you control have lifelink, and then you can pay 2 black and tap it to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So, again, that's a type of recursion. We've got, like, Heartless Summoning to make them cost less because dragons are expensive, which is 1 and a black for an enchantment. Creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Creatures you control get -1/-1. We don't care about giving our creatures -1 because they're generally pretty big to begin with. You know, classics like Terminate. We also get the sweep of black and or red dragons. Probably the most famous here being Bladewing, followed by Kolaghan, and the other things. So let's start with Bladewing. We have the original Bladewing the Risen, which is 3 black, red, for a 4/4 zombie dragon with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target dragon permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then for a black and a red, he gives all dragons fire breathing, basically. There's the newer version of him, which is Bladewing Deathless Tyrant, which is 5 black-red for a 6/6 dragon skeleton. Interesting. He has flying and haste. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, for each creature card in your graveyard, you make a 2/2 black zombie knight creature token with menace. Just a few more to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing here. We've got Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury, 3 red-black for a 4/5 dragon flying. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, creatures you control get +1/+0 till end of turn, and it has dash for 3 red-black. Dragonlord Kolaghan is 4, a black and a red for a 6/5 Elder Dragon with flying and haste. Now, everyone will look at this and go, but its ability, it's bad. So whenever an opponent casts a creature spell or planeswalker spell with the same name as a card in his or her graveyard, that player loses 10 life. Yes, that is not great in Commander. But it has another line of text that I feel like everybody misses. Other creatures you control have haste. So I just throwing that out there. Alright, and then the last two I kind of want to touch on are like Rivaz of the Claw, which is a Vyashino Warlock. For 1, a black and red, it is a 3/3 with Menace. You can tap it to add 2 mana and any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast dragon creatures, and then once during each of your turns, you may cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard. And whenever you cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard, it gains when this creature dies, exile it. And finally, rounding it out, we have Ancient Brass Dragon. 5 black for a 7/6 Elder Dragon flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20. When you do, put any number of target creature cards with total mana value X or less from graveyards onto the battlefield under your control, where X is the result. So, all in all, it's a very fun deck to play. But I kind of got thinking the other day, what if I wanted to go into Gruul with it? So, that's the thought that's been kicking around. I think I'm still going to keep this version of the deck, and I'm going to build the Gruul deck with other things that I have laying around. So I guess the real question is, what background would I choose? I have 3 options. I'm going to go from least likely to most likely. The first one being Raised by Giants. 5 and a green for background. Commander creatures you own have base power and toughness 10/10 and are giants in addition to their other types. Is it fun to make them a 10/10? Sure. Is it good enough to make that the core thing we're trying to do? No, I don't think so. The next one is Hardy Outlander. 1 and a green for a background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever the creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, another target creature you control gets +X till end of turn, where X is this creature's power. So, it incentivizes us to attack the person with the most life, but then I'm just giving something else +3/+3 till end of turn. Now, don't get me wrong, if I have Raised by Giants out and this out, and I'm giving something +10, that's a different story. But I feel like you kind of need those to work together to do that, so I think they are better in the 99. So chances are what I would go with is helping reduce our mana costs with Acolyte of Bahamut. 1 and a green for a background. Commander creatures you own have the first dragon spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. So it's just a discount on the first dragon we cast that turn, but then think of it as giving us a discount on the next one, because once we cast that one, we get a treasure, and then if we cast another one, we get another treasure. So I think that would be the direction we're going. Ganax and Acolyte of Bahamut. Now, that said, that wouldn't be the only backgrounds in the deck. Another one that I would definitely be putting in there is Dragon Cultist. 4 and a red for a background. Commander creatures you own have, at the beginning of your end step, if a source you control dealt 5 or more damage this turn, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. We can't put this as our background because it would make our deck mono red, but dragons hit hard. Then he makes another dragon, gets another treasure. It helps feed our mana, which is something we're going to want to do a lot of in this deck. Now, there will be some overlap between, red creatures. Things like Tyrant's Familiar, which is 5 red for a 5/5 dragon with flying and haste. It has Lieutenant as long as you control your commander. Tyrant's Familiar gets +2/+2 and has, whenever it attacks, deal summon damage to target creature defending player controls. We've also got Goldspan Dragon, which is 3 red for a 4/4 dragon with flying and haste. Whenever he attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure, and treasures you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color. So he's there for double duty. He's a dragon. He also makes our treasures that Ganax makes better. And another one to touch on is Udvara Hellkite. 6 red for a 6/6 dragon flying, and whenever a dragon you control attacks, you create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. So, a lot of times the way this happens is you drop this, you have Ganax out, you attack with everything that can attack, you make that many dragons and that many treasures, and then you can just dump the rest of your hand. So it does a lot. But let's get into what we're adding by adding green. And we're going to start with, the big dog herself. Atarka World Render. 5 red-green for a 6/4 dragon. It has flying, trample, and whenever a dragon you control attacks, it gains double strike till end of turn. So, this version of the deck is just going to be pushing damage a lot. Next up, we have her alter ego, Dragonlord Atarka. 5 red-green for an 8/8 Elder Dragon with flying and trample. Whenever Dragonlord Atarka enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers your opponents control. So this can do some crowd control by hitting, 5 1/1s. Or you can just dome something for 5 to get it off the board. More importantly, it's just a Flampler that's an 8/8. Along with the Tarka, we have her command, which is a red and a green for an instant. Choose 2. Your opponents can't gain life this turn. Tarka's command deals 3 damage to each opponent. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, and creatures you control get +1/+1 and reach until end of turn. So, just a nice little utility spell that we get out of this. Next up, we have Thraxus the Butcher. 3 red-green for a 3/4 dragon peasant. He has trample, and whenever Thraxus the Butcher attacks, double the power of each dragon you control till end of turn. So, this is different from Atarka. This doubles power. She gives double strike. With the 2 of them out at the same time, did I mention this kind of deck just wants to push damage? And then the last one I really want to touch on here is the Ancient Bronze Dragon. 5 green for a 7/7 Elder Dragon. It has flying. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on each of up to 2 target creatures, where X is the result. Now, again, going back to that Hardy Outlander, just getting a number of counters on Ganax isn't bad, but then you also get to put it on, the Bronze Dragon too, if you want, or something with trample. It's going to be the kind of deck that just wants to steamroll as fast as possible. And that means, a lot of ramp spells, a lot of getting 2/7 mana, essentially, to be able to cast everything. And then from there, just accruing more and more mana through Ganax. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for today. So, thank you. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. All of my links can be found in my link tree in the description below. I would like to thank Ian Foss and Cody Mulpey of the band The Crypt for allowing me to use music for my opening and ending, along with Nate and Erica Jacobs for making my original logo. And I would also like to thank Christina McNichol for creating my new logo. And I'll see you next time.